Stanway, and I'm going to negotiate these steps. So, I'm a breakup and divorce coach and psychotherapist, but what I do is I help people with difficult conversations. Oh, I love the prompting, thank you. So when I was young, I don't know how many of you, do you remember map reading? Yeah, do you remember that? Well, my dad used to make me map read, and he was insistent that if he turned around and said, "Where were we?" I needed to be able to point at the map. Well, one day we were going to Stoke. But what I didn't realise is I'd accidentally started directing us towards Stratford. And I was 8 years old, and my dad remains a very difficult man. And that growing sense of, oh crap, am I going to say it to him? And I remember sitting there with fear, trepidation, because Mita, you talked about being kind of silent, and other people have been talked about it, but I remember the terror, the heartfelt terror of, what am I going to do? So I told him, and in a bizarre unusualness, actually he was okay. He said, we can go to Stratford and see where Shakespeare was born, and that was okay. Phew, difficult conversation, negotiated, and luckily with a happy outcome. Now I'm still dealing with my dad, and he's very ill at the moment, and I'm still having these difficult conversations. I'm still having this situation while he's going through really difficult care with his health. And I've still got that fear. Because I know that sometimes when I have that difficult conversation with him, it's going to be okay. Sometimes it's not. And so I'm a breakup and divorce coach, and I went into relationship breakdown. Training as a breakup and divorce coach was a really good way of getting into exactly where those difficult conversations happened. Today, while I'm here, I'm coaching a guy who's having some really difficult conversations with his ex-wife because he wants access to his children and he doesn't want to go down the court process. So I use a 3-point strategy, which I call the Magic 3, because a client named it the Magic 3, and so I call it that, which is to clarify what it is that we want to say, and that is the conversation we have with ourselves. What do I want to say? How am I going to say it? And that means not using blaming and shaming and why don't you ever, and you need to, and why don't you listen, and I've tried. It means saying, I'd really like to see my kids this weekend. I'll take them to wherever it is they're going so I can spend time in the car with them. Because that's spending time with your kids, isn't it? We all know this. Anybody who's got kids, time in the car is time with your kids. It's the best time with your kids. And then it's communicate. How do we say it in a way that doesn't load on loads of blaming and shaming and telling off? And then when it goes wrong, and I say when because difficult conversations always go wrong, otherwise they're not a difficult conversation. What do? We go back to being very clear about what we wanted to say. Because this guy, me, when I'm talking to my dad, we could load on the reasons. Well, you need to let me see my kids because I have a right to see my kids and blah, 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 blah. Or what we could do is say it's really important for me to spend time with my children and I'm happy to do it in whichever way I can. So I coach people through difficult conversations. So I want a show of anybody here today, and I'm not going to ask you to say what it is, although I'm happy to talk about it later, but has anybody here got a difficult conversation coming up with an ex, with a child, with a parent, with someone? Anybody? Yeah? Okay. Who would like a gift? Come up here and I'll give you a gift. Who's going to come? I've got one gift. Walk up here, come and see me. Come. It's a copy of my book. Ring me up, I'll find you later, and I'm happy to coach you through that difficult conversation. I'll do it later. So, thank you so much for your time today. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm Eve Stanway. I'm on all social medias. Sandra knows who I am, she'll point you in my direction, and thank you for your time today.